This video is brought to you in part by Squarespace. Welcome back to Sonic Speed Reading, and a very happy 30th to Amy Rose and Metal Sonic, as their debut game launched on September 23rd, 1993. And we have talked about Sonic CD on this channel before, long time ago actually, and while I do have some videos on Amy and have some others coming very soon about both of these characters, today we're actually going to look at a comic that celebrates the birthday of these two, simply titled Amy's 30th Anniversary Special, just like Tails got last year, and sounds like Knuckles is going to get one next year. But unlike those other two, this is the first time Amy gets her very own issue. Now normally I roll through the story, but this comic is brand new, like just came out the same day this video is going up, brand new. So this is going to be more of a straight up review than a story summary. There are going to be some mild spoilers in terms of where to set your expectations, but even then, how certain things are revealed are silly fun, and I don't want to ruin that for anybody. These classic character one-off comics aren't here to drive the plot of a bigger overall narrative forward, but there are some sprinkles of continuity here that we will discuss a little bit later. But if you want to avoid spoilers altogether, I'm just going to tell you right now, if you're a fan of Amy Rose or the tone of the other classic one-off stories or the animated shorts, if you have the means, just go buy the book. You don't need a comic store, you can get it digitally as well. It's really good, and I'd really like to keep these guys employed because their work is just so damn pleasant. Speaking of, the story has been penned once again by Ian Flynn, line art by Aaron Hammerstrom, inks by Matt Freese, and colors by Reggie Graham. All names you should be familiar with if you're a fan of the current Sonic comics. And if you've had fun with the 30th Anniversary comic, Mega Drive back in Archie, Tails 30th, any of those, like I said, you're going to enjoy this just fine. Flynn, once again, does an excellent job carefully balancing the tone of a Sonic book. We have seen him play with all kinds of moodier tones with Frontiers and the Metal Virus, but he can switch it over to fun and cheery just fine if the story calls for it. And that's exactly what Amy's book does. But it does still take a great deal of skill to make a breezy little adventure function like this one. Even if the stakes are low, you need other elements to pop to keep things engaging. And that is something Ian has always excelled with when it comes to classic Sonic stories, because he treats them like classic Sonic games, journeying to different zones, seeing new kinds of interesting badniks, and enjoying the company we keep along the way. There are no repeat locations from any of the video games. These are all made up exclusively for this comic, which he has done before in other similar stories. And once again, I don't want to ruin those because, like a classic Sonic game, the fun is seeing a brand new zone you've never experienced before, and every location here fits in just fine with any other classic Sonic location. Same goes for the badniks. It's always fun to see a new design, and once again, I can easily see Eggman putting something like this together, and also, once again, like all these other classic stories, this just makes me want to play this in an actual video game. But don't expect any big surprise reveals in terms of the cast, like there was with the 30th Anniversary comic. There are a lot less players in this one, and it's nobody you haven't seen before. Again, they have fun with how they introduce these characters and how Amy interacts with them, but the focus remains entirely on Amy. This is her book, and she remains the central focus. And if you saw my Sonic 900th adventure, you might think I'm being a bit of a hypocrite when I'm not giving any kind of flack for the lack of surprise characters or stuff of that nature, and fair enough. I genuinely had a great time with that book, but I did say that the interactions were limited and the stakes were fairly low, like this one. But these two books are celebrating two different things, and in turn, I had different personal expectations for both. And even then, that comic itself was really solid and very impressive on its own terms. I was mostly just whining about how much history in that 900 number is left locked away. But here, like I said, this is Amy's party, and they do a great job celebrating her and letting the pink hedgehog shine for a bit, which is especially nice since it's only now in recent history we're seeing classic Amy get any kind of proper characterization. IDW only really revisits the classic interpretations of these characters with these occasional one-shots, so it's always a treat when they revisit these interpretations, because when they do, they take great care with the humor, heart, and action. And for the birthday girl herself, they're leaning more into that shy interpretation with a heavy reliance on tarot cards. But that timid nature is only surface level, and this comic dives in a little deeper to show us the other sides of her personality. personality, the parts that Amy will eventually grow into. Always putting others first, seeing the good even in those who try to hide it from the rest of the world, and her endless empathy that helps her connect with anybody, no matter how they communicate, be it a mute bear or the little chirps of a flicky. Also, yes, they are once again giving her a little animal sidekick in the form of a flicky, but it's the right amount of cute. That's what you want out of an animal sidekick. And we do see that more fiery side of Amy's personality, the one that we haven't seen so much since the early days of Adventure in Sonic X. And they use this to show where her priorities lie, and it's once again in the love of her friends. Granted, she only gets heated because of a few sassy tweets, but come on, who hasn't been there? She just has a whole lot of love to give, and it's never obnoxious or forced. So if you were worried about her carrying her own story, don't fret. She is the connective glue to a ragtag group of buddies she comes across through her journey to open up capture pods put together by Metal Sonic. And this is also a great way to let often overlooked characters shine for a little bit, because even when her guiding tarot cards catches her off guard with someone she's not expecting to see, while it might seem like she's just making excuses for those cards, she is still seeing these underappreciated attributes of these often obscure animal buddies. She's not making anything up. She truly believes everything she says about them because she knows just how good they can be. And you can tell that they appreciate it. I love it. But that does leave very little room for her own self-worth. She isn't ever throwing a pity party or anything like that. She's just oblivious to how much good she is bringing to those around her and how that love for others guides her to push past her fear, anxiety, and trauma. And there's no better personification of those feelings than Metal Sonic. Because yes, it's his birthday too, but he's not really in the mood for celebrations. Just look how angry he is at that cake. While he doesn't get the center spotlight, he does serve as the central antagonist of the story. This is perfect since this was the robot that kidnapped Amy during Sonic CD. This time, the robot is trying to hunt her down specifically, only growing more determined with each capsule pod she breaks open. And the bot brings a couple of fun, tense moments. Amy can't match the robot in speed or power, so she's forced to hide whenever Metal hones in on her location. But as the adventure comes to a close, she will have to choose to face that fear. That conflict isn't wrapped up in some big knockdown, drag-out fight, but instead playing off the strengths of Amy. Even under a lot of pressure and in the middle of a dangerous situation, she never wavers from her priority, taking care of those she loves. So yeah, even in this single issue, with a clear beginning and ending that can be enjoyed all on its own terms, just like the Tales comic, we see seeds planted for the hero we know Amy will eventually grow into. And yeah, sometimes a little bit more of that, shall we say, determined gal from the early 2000s also rears her beautiful head. If this were in the Archie era, this would have just been a backup story in an already crammed issue. But this is a genuine extra long adventure focused entirely on Amy Rose, and I have to say, like I did with Tales last year, this is why I'm thankful for Ian Flynn, because never once was this story boring. But that is also helped along by some beautiful art, which is not only a treat to look at, but it's also doing a great job of interpreting the tone and humor of the script. Hammerstrom's line work is a fan favorite for a reason, just really nails the Sonic style so well, and Reggie's colors help these locations and characters pop. I still cannot get over Metal Sonic crushing a cake in his angry little hand. It's just gorgeous. I know I say it every time, but I'm so thankful for the talented people who grew up both understanding their craft, but also share the same love for this franchise as the rest of us weirdos. You don't get this kind of writing or art without a deep understanding of what makes these characters tick. And I need to stress that also goes for the 900th adventure as well. I don't think I praised the ridiculously wonderful talent there enough. And yeah, all the covers are wonderful, but I especially love how hard the wings go in that classic Sonic emblem. Look at that. As far as the rest goes, you heard me say it all before. The new locations at Bandix look like they'd fit right into the game world. This looks as fun to play as it was to read. Yeah, I do want it all in the game, but I'm gonna go a step further. I would love all of this in an Amy Rose-centric game, but also give her that hammer hop. I miss it. Before we wrap up for today, I want to take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, Squarespace. Jumping online and building up your own brand was always an intimidating thing for me, but Squarespace makes that a streamlined, fast, and easy process, all while making you look good thanks to their Fluid Engine, a next-generation website design tool that lets you tweak any of their many templates with easy-to-use drag-and-drop tools. And I don't need to tell you how useful websites can be, whether you want to build up a portfolio of your work, an art gallery, gallery, or a shop, because yes, they have everything you need to run your own online business, including analytics that help show you the strongest avenues of growth and help you build up marketing strategies, which include integration with your favorite social media networks. And they can even help you set up an online shop to sell and distribute custom merch. All you have to do is design it and they'll handle production, inventory, and shipping. Really doesn't get any easier than that. And to make it just a bit easier, if you use my link, squarespace.com/gameapologist, you'll get 14 days for free, which is plenty of time to see if this is right for you. And when you want to make a purchase, that same link will get you 10% off your first order. Thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring the video. But I think that's gonna about do it for today, guys. I just wanted to simply go over what I liked about this book. I know some of you are gonna be frustrated and would have preferred a story summary, but again, if you've read the other classic comics, it's the same basic premise here. Amy Rose travels to different zones to help save friends from Metal Sonic. And spoilers, the heroes end up victorious. There you go. There are no huge reveals, the plot is simple, and it's just an excuse to go on a journey with these wonderful characters. Those interactions, reactions, and humor are what make this book so wonderful. Just telling you what happened would be doing this comic and you a disservice. This video is simply a companion piece here to tell you to go read it, and for those who have, a jumping off point of a bigger discussion. It's not a replacement for the comic itself. You guys need to stop tagging me on Twitter asking me to read you a bedtime story. It's getting real weird. I don't care what your reason is. It's weird. Just stop doing it. Anyway, that tangent aside, let me know how you felt about this admittedly vague but more traditional review style for these one-off stories. Would you prefer some more stuff like this? I've been kind of on the fence on whether or not I wanted to cover the Endless Summer stuff because, I mean, did you really need me to cover a volleyball match between Sonic and the Babylon Rogues? Anyway, let me know in the comments below, but for now, thank you so much for watching this quick little video, and thank you to the patrons who support me over on Patreon, especially these fine folks here. Kyle Winter, Cyrus the Skeptic, Joseph Duncan Sonic 2 Blue is my, aka Nick's biggest hero, John, Josh Strider, Hatsworth, Tiny Jericho, Ginger Bob, Jack of All Spades, Tristan Trapp, Meekers, Macy, you're still nowhere on this list, what's going on? Dun Dun, Quote, Resident Fanboy, Miles the Prower, Jeremy Singer, Mr. Boo J, Sam Webster, Fishflop, Lucas Lipker, The Bad Pal, Jonathan Dobbs, Haley, Chad, Is Sonic Team Making You Blue, Dimps Leaving You Dumped, Big Red Button Giving You a Big Red Headache, Try Sonic the Chronic, thank you, SP. Cecil the Gallade, The Dark Neon, Stefan Platonica, 3 Monic, Graham J. Hall, Lenny X, Wayne is Boss, Lederick, Mr. Jubei. Am I allowed to say that? That got dangerous real quick. Jimmy Duke, STR, The Lumberjack, Trash Baphomet, Autumn from Twitter.com, make sure you, this is not Pup's Readout. I'm not screaming this, but I'm very excited you're here, Autumn. That Pyramid needs a funny name, please help. Today's funny name is Jubei. Jin Seotame, Bowden, I'm not reading that. Enerjack 5, Grayson Conager, Spades the Nocturne, Ken K of Warheads, Ven 101, Paxton Bisbeast, and Darren 7. You didn't mention him enough, bastard man. Bastarding about talking about the color yellow. Disgusting. I should really do a video on Tails' color, shouldn't I? Or is that racist? Twilord. Can you believe it, guys? Spider-Man 2 is just a month away. Spider-Man 2 in just a month. Woohoo! I'm so excited about this information. Or he said happy. Anyway, Paisley, Eric Delgado Kodinsky, Sayonara Robocop, Crimson Rose, Nyx the Kobold, Sonic P.A.J., Moonicent, Roxas the Cat, Godzilla, Makuta of Salt, Pigeon Measuring Room. Okay. Alexander Watson, Neil Gompa, Conan Kudo, Sharif Pi, the Lex, the most powerful ship in the 2 universes, Native Nerd 27, Kaido Prower, Swift Cannon Spearmint, Omega Man 21, Penn Adelaide, Other Envelope, Jamie Torres Jr., The Phantomist, Silver Stars, Daza S, the world's most unironic 8.5 tail stand, one more Sonic Robot. The side effect may include anti-sequelitis, impending lawsuit disorder, and self-induced ear trauma, and Zoltan Hajnal. I wonder if I'm saying that correctly. Let me know if I am. Alright guys, I want to get another couple short videos out before the end of the month, so I'm going to get straight to work on those, and I will see you all next time. Toot toot, Amy Warriors!